up, everybody? How's it going? We got the pre-stream welcome going on. First attending is Wayne. He says he's currently taking a nap. I'm hoping that... Hey, it's Tank Radio! There, we woke him up. How's it going? Andy, you are second in my stream. Now I got to go back to Windows audio settings. There we go. It dropped me with that screen. Yeah. And now Pandora's muted, so I'm not going to shove that over the stream. That would have been embarrassing. And Mike, N8YO, thanks for joining, man. Good to see you around. And as always, I got the chairs in the garage now, so you don't have to worry about giving them back to me. Look, we woke up Wayne. Yes. All right, we're just letting all the YouTube notifications pop here and people to wake up from their naps. We got MI7J blah, that's a tongue twister. MI7DJT attending. Freddie, thank you for joining. You are awesome. And Mr. Cooley. All right. It's about close enough. So I am going to drop my own audio, not Windows audio. And we're going to kick this off. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Frank, KG5AHJ, and we got an awesome live stream coming up for y'all. We got Mike and Becky, the ham radio duo, waiting in the rings, and my co-host Scott, as always. And let's just kick it off like normal. We're going to play that awesome intro video. Windows ducked me a lot. Let's turn it back up, and there it goes. Quick shout out to all my Patreons who makes the show possible. You can support me by joining Patreon in the link below. And on to Tank Radio. First things first, I wanted to go ahead and let y'all know about a special limited time offer. This is limited time only. A link in the description below, or it's pinned in the chat, or it's pinned in the first comment of this video. This month, it's only a limited time availability. Like the whiskey tumblers, I am selling Tank Radio coffee mugs. These coffee mugs are great for camping. These coffee mugs are just gonna be amazing. They have my logo on it. I love the green. I love everything about it. You got to order now. This is a pre-order only, so I'm gonna order these, and then it's gonna take a month or two, and then I'll be able to ship them out. So there's gonna be a little delay when you order them, but it is only pre-orders only. If you want your Tank Radio coffee mug, go ahead and head over to Grapevine Amateur Radio and look under drinkware, and you'll see my mug, and order it now. I love them. There it goes. You know that camera spin at the end of that little promo video was my gimbal giving out? For some reason, it just stopped and it went all the way down. So I was like, hey, it works. Kept it in there. But coming off of that, yes, this is probably going to be the last week. That is the last week for the Tank Radio mugs. I think I have roughly 30 of them pre-ordered. I need a little bit more. So if we can go ahead, if you don't have your Tank Radio mug pre-order already in, because, you know, this is the only way to get your Tank Radio mug. The only through pre-orders. Once the pre-order window is gone, it's not a pre-sale, it's a pre-order. No longer going to be able to get those mugs. There's a one-time only. I like doing these one-times because they're fun and they help you and or my fans, or let me, and I don't know. They're just fun. Then let's go ahead and go down the usual order. Thank you to all my Patreons. Y'all are awesome. I can't do this audio podcasts, YouTube's live streams, videos, and everything I do, and all the awesome traveling I do to come out and meet y'all, and also to get all the whiskey. I got 7 whiskey bottles over at Huntsville. We drank a couple of them there, but some of them didn't make it home, and we're going to be busting those out later. Y'all are awesome. I can't do it without your support. I'm just trying to say, I do need your support, continued support to keep this up. Go ahead and join the YouTube memberships or click on that Patreon link and join my Patreon. Plus, I think it's in a couple of weeks now, Tank Commander meeting. The Tank Commander meeting is my meeting with you, the Tank Commander levels, and we have a once a month meeting to talk about Tank Radio, what's going on with Tank Radio, or anything else going on with you. It's just your chance to talk with me and say hi and have some fun. Super Chats and Buy Me a Beer is active, and I have stickers. No, I should put together a sticker promo, but Tank Radio stickers, there's 2 stickers that I don't give out in that pack, and then you get a couple other Tank Radio stickers along with it. But in total, it's 5 stickers. It's an awesome, amazing way to support me. The Tank Radio what do we call them? The Tank Radio mouse pads. Those mouse pads are over there on Corky QRP's website and Gigaparts. Gigaparts, 5% off on checkout. If you use Tank at checkout, you get 5% off on select items. Link is the description below, and it will show you all the items. Pretty much anything Messy and Polony, pretty much anything Rig Expert, pretty much anything to do with the Explorer backpack. Unfortunately, not the Explorer. Why is my pop-up? I'm clicking people's names and it's not seeing it pop up. We'll fix that in a minute. The Explorer backpack, but not the Explorer 20 yet. And my audio podcast is every week, and that's 2 episodes that are not on YouTube. Go ahead and head over to anywhere that you listen to audio podcasts and search Tank Radio, and you'll find me. And if I'm not there, let me know, because I will try to get there. All right, we got the desktop unmuted. We got the guys unmuted, and we're going to go ahead and bring everybody in and get the right scene. Yeah! What is up, guys, and how are y'all doing?
Doing great.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank y'all for joining. I'm looking forward to this. And as always, Scott, my amazing co-host, Ham Radio for Non-Techies, my second metal brother. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, man. Just staying busy and keeping it rocking.
Yeah, man. That's how you do it. Just keeping busy. I just got back from Florida for a family trip. And boy, my arms are tired. I couldn't help it.
Oh, no.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Talking
We'll
of,
save that for later.
We'll save that.
But
Too soon.
It's too soon.
Mike N8YO, thanks for ordering those coffee mugs. I appreciate it, and we'll be getting those orders shortly. But Mike and Becky, Ham Radio Duo, how are y'all?
Doing great.
Not as busy as usual, but for good reasons, but having a good time.
Downtime is amazing. I say that, and I told my friends and family, like, I'm finally done with the Ham Radio Hamfest circuit, and I'm looking forward to 4 months being at home. And guess what everybody did? Can we have that weekend here? We have that weekend. We want to go on a trip here. How we go this weekend? This weekend. September's booked already, and half of October. I'm like, I wanted to be home, but it's all fun, right?
It's all good.
It's all good. And let's just talking about arms are tired. Hi, Mike. How are you doing?
Yeah.
A bit.
A bit.
He's been better.
A thing happened.
Oh yeah.
We had a thing.
What happened there?
So we just posted a video that was one of our most fun POTAs that we've ever done.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And we were at the highest point in Alabama, and we had biked up to the top of it, and then
Like real mountain biking, like on trails and rocks and mountain biking. And so we ended up at the summit where we did a POTA in Minnesota.
And we did back to back, and we were on our way back, and we were actually on the road, no longer on the on the mountain. And Nobody to blame but myself, but I was going a little bit too fast. And the day before, something had happened with the derailleur or the chain or something, and the back tire locked up, and I heard the same noise, and I was going way too fast. I was like, oh my goodness. And so I'm not really sure what happened, but the bike stopped and I did not, and I flipped over. But as I was in the air, I ducked my head because I definitely didn't want to hit my face or my head. And she saw it from behind.
Yeah.
And so this, I think I hit this hand first, then this one, and then did a roll, and then I've got kind of like the evidence
Kind
of
of
the roll.
bruised this whole side of him.
So luckily, I can still send CW.
Yeah.
This hand still works well enough, and
Yeah, it was probably one of the scariest things I've ever witnessed because I was probably 30 feet behind him and I'm like, oh my God, like all I see is him stop, but his body kept going and he just up over the handlebars, flipping around. And I'm like, I was probably looked like white as a ghost when I came up to him. I was like, don't move, are you okay? You know, like,
Ooh. And was this a trail that had like a side to a cars that you can get help on, or did you have to walk out?
well, by the time he actually wrecked on the road on the just way back to the camper. We were camping there. So we were done biking, really. We were just headed back to the camper and that's when it happened. So it was maybe a 5-minute bike ride. We had our youngest, who's 16, in the camper. So we called and said, hey, you talk to him while I hop on the bike. So someone was talking to him the whole time. I jump on my bike, go back, get the truck, come back, pick him up, put the bike in the back.
Oh man,
It was an ordeal. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and long story short, when we were at the ER, we were smiling and laughing and kind of in a good mood, and they're like, y'all are having way too much fun given what happened." And I think I was just so happy to be able to walk away from it and still be alive. Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
Every time either one of us start getting kind of funky about it, or he's like, "Oh, I can't do anything," we're like, "Okay, it could be so much worse. Like it could have been really bad." So we're just grateful.
And thanks to this one, she has to do everything for me, which is the hardest part to get used to. I'm like, I can't open jars, I can't do anything.
And one JUR says he's glad that you're okay, but the number one
Thank you.
question is, was the radio okay?
Okay. So if you watch the video, you'll see that I actually had the backpack on. And so I had all the gear with me. It wasn't with him. So yeah, all the gear's good to go.
Nice.
Well, it sounds like you're able to make split.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds like you're able to make split-second decisions in a mode of crisis. So, hey, bravo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely thankful. One of the great things about
Awesome.
Yes, but the gear survived. This hand, his sending hand survived better. So
yeah, I got a cast on this side, and I CAT scan tomorrow, find out if I need to have surgery.
yep.
Ooh. Well, I wish all the good things to you, and hopefully no surgery because
Yes, that's a big we're hoping.
and if they recommend any PT, go ahead and do it. I didn't do it one time, and I regretted it later, and I had to pay for it later out of my own pocket. So that is
Shall
my
I say
advice.
something?
Okay, go ahead. Tell us. You can tell the story.
So thankfully,
Funny story.
I have a built-in physical therapist. So she switched careers into tech, but she was a physical therapist for almost 20 years.
I call myself I'm kind of a retired physical therapist, but yeah. So, but it was good because I could kind of assess him right away, and we went down to the office at the campground, and there were some rangers there, and they happened to have a gear bag, and they're like, I don't even know what's in this, but you guys can see if there's anything in it. There was a moldable splint, a strap, so I was able to kind of stabilize him that night because it was already almost dark, and we were camping in our RV. So we just mobilized him and, got up the next morning and came home. So we got lucky.
Oh man.
But we've done.
I'm glad it happened close to the road because I hate for you to walk out, and I've seen people have to do that, and it's no fun at all.
Yeah, for sure.
I think a lot of hams really ought to have some sort of at least a basic level of first aid, because the stuff we do going out to these POTA parks, going out to these different places, hiking away, being half a mile from our cars, something goes wrong and you don't have the proper skills or the proper equipment to at least help yourself to where you can get where you can get other help. That can really screw you down the road. So yeah.
Yep. I was actually listening to one of the CW POTA activations from Thomas K4SWL, and he was talking about having an emergency kit with him when he goes. And so I got one and put one in our backpacks that we had. It was actually in the
We
other
didn't
backpack.
take it that time. Yeah.
But fantastic idea.
Yeah, great idea next time.
Well, glad that you've been able to make it on here, and I do appreciate it. So my question is, how did y'all get into amateur radio? How did that interest kind of happen with one of y'all, both of y'all, or how did that start?
You start.
Want to kick it off?
You start.
I first got into amateur radio a while back because emergency preparedness. Basically, we had some tornadoes rip through, and they took down. The power knocked out for about a week and a half. But the thing that I didn't expect is the cell phones worked initially, but then as soon as the battery backup in the cell phone towers ran out, then the cell phones didn't work. And so they were asking people for help and communicating, relaying messages and stuff like that. And so I thought, okay, well, Amazon recommended a Bofang HT. So I was like, well, I'm not interested in getting licensed or anything, but if something bad happens, at least I'll have this. And then I got it, and then I realized that I probably really should get licensed. So I got licensed a while back, but I had and I was interested in Morse code primarily. And there was one weekend when I was like, okay, this is it. I'm going to learn Morse code this weekend. And that's when I realized how much I didn't understand. So by the end of the weekend, I was recalibrated. I realized this is going to be a lot harder than I expected. And so I kind of took a winding journey through different things as I kind of touched on Morse code every once in a while. And then Becky came into the picture, and I had not touched Morse code or tried in a while. And it came on a TV show in the background. And all of a sudden I was like, whoa, I know what that is. And so I mentioned what it was. And then so she was like,
He showed me it. He was learning on it's called Morse Mania, and it's an app on the phone. And he's like, well, this is how I learned, back when he initially tried. And he said, you just put it on your phone for fun and just kind of try it out. And so I said, okay, well, I'll give it a try. And for real, I did learn the whole alphabet in the weekend.
A weekend?
Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
I really did.
Wow.
so, and there's probably two
But
components
I wasn't
there.
even licensed. I just thought, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, and zero interest in becoming licensed. Like she was just really doing it just as a challenge for herself. And I think that no doubt that she's got some inherent natural skills somehow that makes it easier. But also, I learned the wrong way. I memorized all the dits and das, and I still struggle with trying to turn that part of my brain off. And so, because I did that, she started off with only listening to the sounds of the letters and listening to them really fast.
Yeah, listening to them fast.
So hopefully that means she's off to a better start than me.
So that kind of knocked out my other question, was how did y'all get into CW? I was wanting to know if y'all did Long Island CW Club or anything else, but you just kind of decided to tackle that mountain on your own.
Yeah, initially I think it was the Morse Mania, and then he started getting me listening to is it called Morse Ninja?
Morse Code Ninja.
Morse Code Ninja.
Oh, that's an audio that just kind of
Yeah.
loops it
On
and gives
YouTube.
it
It's like a
message.
YouTube, but it's
Yeah.
YouTube, but it's audio, and you can set it for whatever speed you want and the Farnsworth spacing, so that you can just kind of start working on getting faster and better. And we'd put it on in the car when we were going on our RV trips, and we would just back and forth learn. And then, of course, he wants me to get licensed and get on the air. And I'm like, no. So, and I saw in the chat, I'm going to say hi to Chantel. So Chantel and Ed, both of them, he started watching their YouTube channel. And he's like, hey, come watch this. Because Chantel was getting out there and activating and
I think
things
that was
like
the first
that.
activation
That
that I
was,
showed you.
Yep, that was the first time she had actually activated. And I was like, well, okay, fine. I'll get licensed. Maybe I could, that looks like fun. I can do that. So that's what got me licensed. And then
Yep. And as a technician, she had a terrible call sign.
it was horrible.
Especially a bad call sign for sending in CW. And so she's like, I've got to get my general so I can get a vanity call sign to replace this.
Yeah.
Well, you can
We
get
had
a
someone
vanity
comment.
as a tech, but you can't you get more freedom of choosing like a 2x2 or a one
Yeah.
by three. I think you could do a 1x3 as a tech too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
I think so.
I think you had to get a general to get a 1x3 because that's what she ended up getting. I could be
Okay.
Yeah,
wrong.
it could be,
Yeah.
but regardless, it was
Yeah.
funny. Someone actually said, "Did you pick the call sign or did you pick your name after you got the call sign?" Because I thought that was kind of funny. So
Yes.
I'm
What?
not
yeah,
sure.
Go ahead, Scott.
I would say I'm not sure if this is exclusive to the Long Island CW Club. I'm a life member. It's like $90. It's really worth it because it got some really cool classes you can take. Doesn't matter where you are in your journey, you can jump in on something, and it's really cool. But one of the features they've got, like I said, I'm not sure if it's exclusive to them. You can actually download Yahoo News and certain books. They're all in CW.
No.
wow,
So if you want to like
that's a
listen,
great
you really
idea.
want to challenge yourself, you can just listen to the daily news, but it's all in CW.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and so you asked about how we got into it. We are self-trained so far, but we just signed up for LICW and started going to their classes. We definitely have some gaps to fill, so we're trying to figure out where in their rotating carousels to jump in, and already can tell like tons of very, very patient people, and that's been the primary thing that's been awesome about CW so far is like how great all the people are, every person we make contact with and stuff like that. I'm aware of LICW. We are enrolled in a CW Innovations class for the fall,
ooh.
and we'll be taking that as well. And then I've heard great things about CW Academy.
Hmm.
And so far it sounds like there's at least three great options that everybody seems to speak really highly of.
Nice. And what? How fast can you send words there, Becky?
So I still prefer straight key.
Oh.
I actually activate with a straight key on, I mean, that's primarily I've activated on a straight key. The times that we've taken the paddle was just because we wanted to get everything really small, and he sends with a paddle mostly. So if we only take one key, we'll take a paddle. But I don't know, probably between 15 and 18 words a minute I can send on the straight key.
And how fast did you learn it? Did you learn it at that speed, or did you learn it a little slower?
I Because of him, he really encouraged me to try to learn the letters faster.
Mm-hmm.
So the letters, I think he had it set up
30.
between 25 and 30 for the letter, but
Mm-hmm.
enough spacing that your brain had enough time to they weren't just back to back to back,
Mm-hmm.
but if you learn the sound of it, and I have also heard, I do have a musical background a little bit, and I've heard that helps because I more recognize the sounds instead of just trying to, is that two dits and a da? I just hear did a da.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hear that whole thing together, which I think helps.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I'd say for both of us, and probably very, very similar to most people, we can send faster than we can copy in terms of whole
Yeah.
words.
Mm-hmm.
And so we both practice sending pretty fast, like 24 words per minute. And receiving, I'm comfortable at like 15 words per minute most of the time. And even though I can hear characters way faster, it's not very common, at least on the air, for people to send really fast characters with really big spaces in between.
yeah.
You obviously haven't met Howard at the LICW yet.
We actually did.
Met him, but I haven't had a QSO with him before.
Yes, we haven't.
Yeah, well, he sends at 50 words a minute.
Ooh.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, we actually, this was our very first Hamfest that we went to, and we interviewed Howard from LSCW, and we also interviewed Kathy with the SKCC. So that was a lot of fun to get to hear their stories. It was really neat.
Yeah.
And
And
you
I only
did.
met Howard briefly.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I only met Howard briefly, but it was one of those things where like after we met, I was like, this is a really nice, unique person. Like
Yeah.
he definitely struck me as being a really awesome guy.
Very passionate about what he's doing, and yeah, you could just tell in how he told stories. He was just still excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
His
And
dedication is definitely there.
yeah, so this was your first Hamfest. You chose Huntsville, even though it was down the road from y'all as your first one. What'd you think of it as a Hamfest coming out? Y'all came out to the POTA Friday, didn't y'all?
We
We
did.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We camped up there over the weekend, and I think it was just so neat. Whenever we go camping, because we camp quite a bit, we're always hesitant about pulling our gear out and, like, oh, trying to be quiet and, head so nobody hears us sending CW. And this time, we walk around and see everybody's campers and their setup. And this time it was like, oh, everybody's got antennas. Oh my gosh. Like, you feel like you're in your own group instead of being the outsider. So that was pretty neat.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm used to, we walk around the campsite and we're like looking at all the campers and like, oh, look at that slide out or whatever. And this time we're walking around the campsites and we're like, ooh, look at that antenna.
Yeah.
Window
it was very-
shopping.
yeah. But we had a great time meeting everybody. I think that's probably why we really like the CW and ham radio community. Everybody's so nice. They're just so welcoming. And if you're new, they're like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter if you mess up or make mistakes, or if you're slow, someone will slow down for you. Like, it's really great.
And I personally, since I've been into amateur radio a little bit longer, I don't know anybody in my family or anybody in real life that's into amateur radio. So for real, the YouTubers are my Elmers basically. And so it was a little bit surreal to like I'm like, oh, I just got help from you. Wait, I just got help from you. And that's where I met Frank for the first time. But like, just, it was definitely surreal just seeing all my quote Elmers all in one spot.
Yeah.
So you met me. You met Josh there. Jason was
Yep.
there.
Josh,
T.O.
Jason, yeah, and
T.O.
Tio, and Tio had just we just exchanged messages through his comments about the G90 firmware, and then we'd just gotten the POTA 20 mast that K8 MRD had suggested to Gigaparts to make, and then Mike was like, K8 MRD was like, hold on one second, and he went back to his camper and got a little fishing pole spike that another Mike had told him about, and then we let us
We
use it
used
for
it for our activation up there.
Nice. See,
Yeah.
that's what the ham community is. Have you seen this? Have you
Yeah.
got that? Go try
Yeah.
this. Check it out for
And
a
we
bit.
met who else? We met Vince and Carlos and Tech Prepper, like all of them. Everybody's just so nice and welcoming.
All right, I'm gonna put both of you on the spot. Who was the favorite YouTuber you met?
Oh no.
favorite YouTuber. Dang.
I think we had more similarities in common with Joe Brett and Noel.
Yes.
I think they camped right behind us, and we just kind of hit it off with them really well. We went over there a couple times, and well, I think he really likes Joe Brett because of Joe Brett. There's a ICOM 7300 sitting right here. It's Joe Brett's fault because he had one sitting out there, and he got one for his birthday.
Out of
So,
everybody I know, that was the safe play. You said Joe Brett and Noel, who are just hearts.
They're just
man.
great.
I love
Yeah.
those people.
yeah, but everybody. We met so many great people, but we just hit it off with them because they were kind of hanging out up there right where we were, and just nice. Yeah.
That's what that whole park, Montesano Park, was about. Friday we had that pavilion all day, and we hung out there, made burgers. And did y'all try my beans? Did you get there early
I
enough?
did.
We did. We
And
got barely.
barely?
We were up there a little bit late because we had to get the camper up there.
So are you guys going to let Carlos convince you to jump out of a perfectly good airplane and do
Good
CW all the way
question.
down?
Okay, we had a conversation about that when we went to dinner, or we went to Back 40. It's I think it was Saturday night or Sunday night, and I said, well, I don't know, I don't do single sideband, I don't do voice, I just do CW, so we'll have to rig that up. And he's like, okay, we'll do it. So I don't know, I have never done it, but it's probably on my bucket list. So he said if you ever want to do it,
He's the
he would
guy to
take
talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got
Get one of those paddles with a leg strap.
yes.
something. I mean, I
Yes.
could probably do it. I don't know if I could do straight key. That might be a little bouncy. I might have to use the paddle.
Yeah, Carlos has taken me, Steve jumping, and then Vern Six's wife, and he took out jumping.
We watched that one.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was it's fun. It's fun. I love it. I'm glad I stood behind this time and hung out the pavilion all day because I missed that the last couple of years. But it was fun. So kind of back to the questions I had here, though. How did y'all get interested into POTA? So you kind of got interested in the radios and the CW, and how did POTA start coming into all this?
You can tell about my first QSO and how that.
Well, I guess a little bit more directly. I was aware of the fact that POTA existed because both of us, when we talked about like, oh, what would you like when she was learning, like what would we go do? We were thinking like we'd love to go outside. We do lots of outdoor stuff right now, and so
Not, well, maybe not right now.
And so, like, and K6A or K Atom, like, when I was very beginning of thinking about like what my interest in ham radio, he goes up to the top of summits that look gorgeous, and he's up there with a little bitty radio, and it's like that's what I want to do. And so I was aware of POTA and SOTA, both of those from that perspective, but I really, it wasn't something I immediately was thinking that I would do, but when we were going out to parks and stuff like that, and just having regular old QSOs. I was like, I need something on my phone to be able to log with, and became aware of Polo, which is, if you're not aware of it, it's by Ham2K Sebastian, and I downloaded it just to use it as a logger, but it made logging for POTA so easy that I was like, oh, let me start hunting people, and then before I knew it, we were activating.
Nice, nice. I do like Polo. I haven't used it yet, but is it also a free one, or you have to pay for it?
It's free and open source.
Nice.
So yeah, so it'll probably stay free forever.
Nice. I kind of haven't used it yet because I wanted to use the same app on both the computer and my phone, and there's not a computer version of Polo yet. So I'm still in Hammers. Hammers is amazing, and I want to get to Polo. I probably should do that. Plus, I think there's an Easter egg in there for me in there. So if you make contact with me, you might see it. I don't know.
I don't have you in the logs yet, but
I
I
know,
should.
we don't. Yeah.
hmm and what do you recommend for some new people getting out and going to the parks for the first time and getting on the air or trying CW? Let's just do the parks, then we'll come back to CW.
Um, I think, watching, like that's what got me to do it, was watching other activators, whether, on YouTube, and seeing just how it's done and kind of being comfortable hunting and knowing that exchange a little bit is helpful. And then just not being scared to. Like the first thing you need to learn is how to send a question mark. And then after that, like I remember the first time I activated and I would get one letter and then send a question mark, and then I would get two, and then I would send another, and then I'd have the number. Like, it's okay. People are patient. Everybody, that's why it's so great. Everybody is okay with slowing down and question marks. And I think it helped for sure that he was there also. I like have a built-in Elmer to help me with call signs. And the other thing is probably the gear aspect of it, and just knowing you don't have to have a big giant radio. You don't have to have, big giant battery. It can be just a little kit that we take and throw a wire up over a tree.
Yeah, and Morse code does feel like a little bit of an unfair advantage when it comes to doing outdoor stuff, because the radio can be smaller, the power can be smaller, and definitely opens things up. And the other part of your question about getting into CW in general, maybe a good analogy would be playing guitar. Like when I first wanted to play guitar when I was a kid, I thought I want to be one of the rock stars, and the thing that I had in my head was not how fun it would be to practice. It was how fun would it be to be able to play like that guy. And I think that part of CW is for me was realize after so many failures, and then watching her have so much fun getting started, was like all of it can be fun. Like the very first time that you can recognize the letters, the first time that you can send your call sign, and not thinking about like how fast can I get to the point where like I still get a little bummed out if I turn the radio down to some of the lower frequencies and hear people sending at 50 words per minute. I'm like, that doesn't sound like the Morse code I know. But being able to have fun with all of the steps and just feel good about the accomplishment of you're just constantly getting a little bit better, and it feels good all the time, and it's fun all along the way.
Yeah. It's a process. And for, if you just get on the radio and you hear people having conversations and you don't know much about it, it's intimidating. But you just have to kind of set that aside and realize it's not going to happen right away. You have to have patience and get there slowly and have, get on, do some classes if you don't have someone to help you right away, and they'll help you get on the air. But not being afraid to just get on the air. I think people, they might even get to the point where they learn CW and they're proficient with it, but they're just scared to get on the air. Like, why? Like, it's okay. You can make mistakes. Like, just dit. Oops, I messed up here. I'm going to say that whole thing all over again because I messed up. Like, it's okay.
People are very forgiving on when you're on the air and you're doing Morse code, and even Long Island CW. Like, look, you've got to just get past. I mean, we have mic fright. Some people get mic fright when they get their license, they get the ham radio, then they realize they have to talk into this microphone, and they freak out about it.
I think
Well,
I
same thing.
have that.
Yeah.
But the same thing happens in CW. You might learn some CW, and then they're like, okay, now we're going to go live. And all of a sudden you're like, what am I going to do?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the reasons why I really am glad that POTA exists and SOTA, because in the whole, all the different words that might come at you and all that kind of stuff, it gets condensed down to like, if once you master just a pretty basic exchange, then at least you got a nice comfort zone. And we've been on, even though we do rag chew QSOs with people and send words, and we're in the zone and we fully understand it, we'll be in the middle of POTAing, somebody will say something to us, and we look at each other like
What was that?
and then we watch the video when we're editing, and we're like, oh, that's what they said.
Because you're used to the rhythm of the exchange and everything just sounds familiar, and then all of a sudden it's not, and you're like, what was that?
Yeah, but I definitely love the fact that like it takes something to get to the point where you know, to get to one step or the next step or the next step, and then when somebody's hunting you or you're hunting somebody else, you both had to get there together. Like, I mean, like different paths, but they've been through something similar to what you did to get there, so they appreciate the fact that maybe you have trouble copying call signs, like they might too. Like maybe they're better at that stage than you are or whatever, but they've already been there. So.
W1WC says, being scared to get on the air was Annie's biggest fear. She was so excited to make her first contact with you, Becky, and still bragging about it. What? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hi, Brian.
So I'll tell that story. When we got to the pavilion, I had made some of the K6RAK paddles, the 3D printed paddles. I had one in my pocket, and I don't have one sitting here. But we thought, okay, like we have this tiny YouTube channel. Maybe there's some people up here that might recognize us. And I thought, okay, if someone recognizes us, I'm going to give them a paddle. And within a few minutes, Brian walks up to Mike and he goes, hey, Mike, I'm a big fan. And you brought POTA Rose with you, our little dog. And we're like, okay, well, this really does happen. And so we gave him a paddle, and then I started an activation. And as I'm activating, I didn't even realize it was him, but he was at the pavilion on a dummy load, and he hunted me right then. And of course, I mean, you were there, Frank, right? The sky opened up, storm came in, so we packed it up real quick. And no, before that.
Before that, we took a break because there's so many other ham radio operators. We could hear a voice on every single frequency.
It didn't matter.
In CW mode on our little QCX Mini.
So I couldn't hear anything anymore. So we're like, okay, we're going to take a break. So during our little break, Brian came over and told me the story about Anna, that she could do really good, but she had never been on the air at all. And I said, okay, I'm about to go start again. As soon as I wrote down her call sign ahead of time so that I would know for sure it was her coming in. And we got back on the air, and I called CQ, and I heard her come in, and I was like, oh, perfect. And so I got her, and we sent an exchange back and forth nice and slow, and she was like right over there, and she was excited. Like, that to me was the best part of the weekend, was just getting someone else on the air that was scared. Because I've been there too. Like, everybody's been there that first time on the air. And she was super excited. She came over afterwards and gave me a QSL card and was like, here's my first ever QSL card. It was just great.
Oh, that's
So thank you, Anna
awesome.
and Brian, for that, for our ability to tell that story,
I
because
love
it's
that
great.
story. Paul just joining us. He says, I need to rewatch this with my wife. Maybe this will finally get her interested.
Mm. We heard a few of those stories.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you think about it, though, that is how it happened. Like I showed her the video of Ed and Chantel,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
and then she's like, "Well, maybe." And I'd already said, Do you want to get your ticket?" And she did.
Yep.
Another
Uh,
good audio podcast to listen to is Joss's Ham Radio Crash Course. He does that with Leia, his wife, and it's literally them going through the motions of her upgrading to general, and she's taking test questions live and asking questions. So you can see that process, and that helps out. Plus, they go off on wild tangents, and it's fun. It's a fun listen.
Yeah.
But hopefully that helps get her into it because this hobby is not just for guys; it's for everybody,
Yeah. Yeah.
young, old, men, women, everyone.
And
S- mhm.
there's a bonus for the ladies if you go to Hamfest. I've told this before. There's no line. There's no line at the bathroom for the ladies.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty much the only place. Is the
Only place. Yeah.
How does this work?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you mentioned earlier that you like straight keys over the paddles. Why is that?
I think because I'm still new. Like I literally just got my ticket in March, end
Mm,
of March. My first QSO was on CW. And I think for me, it's one channel for I'm in charge of everything. I'm in charge of my dits and my DAWs and how fast they come and how my spacing is. And I think it's just helpful to start that's all I have to worry about. When I started on the paddle, I'm like, okay, now I have to pay attention to timing a little bit more. And there's just one extra thing to have to think about and for me to process. And so I don't know, I just like it. I like kind of that nice, easy, I prefer to send a little slower. It's just comfortable for me.
mm-hmm.
It takes a little, I don't make as many mistakes.
I'm kind of with you, Becky. I mean, I've got paddles. I've got all kinds of different little keys. I collect them like I collect watches. But my straight keys are my favorites.
Hmm.
I've got old World War II straight key that's completely refinished and it's beautiful. 80 years old and
Right.
it's beautiful. And I prefer that over anything else I've got. I've got some really high end stuff,
Yeah.
but I just think you have more. I have more control with how I send with the straight key as opposed to the paddle, which has a little bit of that learning curve going on.
Yeah.
yeah.
I just think the extra part of that learning curve, I can do it, but I didn't want to have that extra thing yet until I was more comfortable.
Yeah, I think that like we have a significant advantage in that anytime we want to have a QSO, we can have like a local QSO back and forth, and we do that on trips. We do that like just hanging out in here, and so I think she's probably a little bit better on the straight key than I am, but I still always have I think preferred the straight key. But when we got a radio in the truck and we were doing hunting in the truck, we started off trying to do it on the straight key, and then we hit
Yeah, the straight key when you're mobile, it just doesn't work very well. You got to have something to hold on to.
That's funny. I love it. I love it. So
One of the
go ahead, Scott.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, so who's operating the radio as you're going down the road? Is it the driver or the passenger?
No.
Yeah, normally it's whoever's not the driver, and sometimes we'll get somewhere, and then one of us will be like, "You can drive."
Yeah, like, wait, who's driving? You drive. Oh, I want to hunt. You drive.
Yeah.
Go
I'm
ahead.
not saying that it's happened, but it is possible that it's a little bit easier to just hand somebody the key while they're driving really quickly to hunt somebody that the other person just hunted.
Like, it's a red light. Here, go quick.
Scott, you had a question?
No, not a question. I was say one of the things I use to learn, I still use it now. You got to build it, but this little CW hotline thing.
Yeah.
And you got to build the whole thing, drill your own holes and stuff, but it allows you to hook up to the internet and you can practice against the AI bot that they have in the thing that comes with your package from buying this, or you can meet with other people and do QSOs like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Scott, I'll probably hit you up offline to pick your brain a little bit more. I absolutely love V-band. V-band being the the website that the device that Scott was just showing us is from, and I've got the USB interface, and thinking about getting one of the CW hotlines.
They're
But
cool. They're cool.
you know, my understanding is it kind of acts like a bat phone. Like you could have it and I could have it, and if we both program them in with the same channel name, then like even without a computer, you and I could send Morse code together.
Yeah. No,
Awesome.
it's definitely a cool little tool to have in your box.
So what keys do y'all use? Daniel is asking from the chat.
So unlike Scott, we don't have as many fancy ones, but we could do a little bit of show and tell.
Yeah, this is my purple. Oops, I have to be right here. This is my little purple CW Morse. Like it's just the basic flat straight key. It's the one I started on and what I'm comfortable with.
Is that
Just
3D
very.
printed?
It is. It's a CW Morse one. It's the same one they sell at Gigaparts. So actually, when she got her ticket, I'd bought that, and then I had it hidden away. And then if she passed, I was going to pull it out. So she passed.
What do you mean if? Did you hear him say if?
We can rewind the tape here.
Yeah. You hear nothing? Yeah, I passed. Yeah. So it's not going to focus, but that is one.
That company's actually really good. I've got one of my first straight key was from that company.
I like it a lot.
You can tell this one.
Yeah, and this is one of the ones that may look familiar. This is one of there's multiple different designs that look very, very similar. I think POTA keg is the one that they have on Amazon. It looks a little bit different in terms of the paddles and stuff. And I think it's $60 on Amazon. I actually got this one from AliExpress. And longer story, not sure how good I feel about buying things from AliExpress, but this was like $25. And just being metal and solid and stuff like that as a paddle, I really like it. But recently,
Oh, wait, which
Did
one?
it come with did it come with that base?
Okay, no. So we got a tip. Oh, I can't even get off of here. This is a jeweler's base, and it's really, I mean, it's heavy. It's probably a couple pounds, and it's metal. So the magnets on the bottom of the paddle, I mean, this is not going anywhere, and it's heavy enough with a kind of a rubbery bottom that it's pretty stable.
Very
and we were looking for mounting options for this in the truck. And then we just grabbed this really quickly, just out of convenience until we figured it out, what our mounting option was. And now we've just decided that's what we do in the truck, because you can put it on your leg, put it next to you, and it's not going anywhere.
And then this is the new one we got. Kind of hard to tell what it is.
Yeah, so so this is an N0SA M7 portable paddle.
Not gonna focus. Yeah,
Our other camera would have focused.
it's not auto-focusing. Sorry.
It's all right.
Wait, what is it again?
Yeah, it's a N0SA. He builds these, and we had emailed him saying, "Oh, we really love one of your paddles." And then he stopped. I guess he only builds them when he feels like it. And so then when he ramped back up, he said, "Hey, you're still in line. Do you still want one?" And so we don't have any Bengalis or anything like that, but definitely like in terms of paddle quality and stuff like that, like that's like instantly within. The first couple times of using it, I was like, far and away my favorite again.
Except for, I don't know if we've jinxed it, because the first time I activated on this, guess what happened on the way back to the camper?
Oops.
Maybe this is not good.
We're hoping that's not the case.
Okay, it has nothing to do with the Okay.
So I can't send on that at the moment.
And this is one of the just 3D printed K6 ARK designs. And so actually I have a video of me building one just like this, and I mean, this has just been great. I love this little thing. It's so, talk about small, I mean, okay, yep, I just do a full POTA activation on this little thing.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a novelty, and I found myself like using that over some other options for QSOs at the house. And now, since I'm one-handed, I actually practicing doing it all with one hand.
You can hold it and send at the same time. Yeah.
We're gonna have to send this video to Adam. Be like, "Hey, look, new promotional video."
Yeah, one-handed. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's about all we use. I'm sure eventually we might invest in something that's who knows, but why? I mean, these work just great.
I don't think at this Hamfest Spinelli keys were there. So you didn't get to play with them. But
No,
are you going to go to another Hamfest maybe later down the road? Because coming up
for sure,
four
probably
months
for sure.
away
Is
is
it 4 months? Is that
Orlando.
Orlando?
Yeah.
Orlando?
Yeah.
We're debating. We
Mm-hmm.
still have one in high school, and so getting away for longer trips is
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more difficult, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll
Yep.
see.
Yep. Hamvention almost for sure, and maybe on Orlando.
Mm-hmm. Hey, if you're picking one in my book, Huntsville, Alabama, Hamfest. That just hands
Yeah, no,
down.
we already have our site booked for next year, so we're good.
Yes, yes. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And Dayton is nice because it's so big and everybody's there, lots of announcements, a lot of people. However, it's hard to find people because there's lots of people. I think they had
Yeah.
Mm.
over 35,000 people who
Wow.
attended and
Yeah.
just just a lot of people, so it's hard to find everybody there. I got people hitting me up. I haven't seen you. I'm trying. I'm like, this place is so big. I'll tell you where I'm at, but good luck. But Huntsville, you can hear me across the room. That's everyone that says that who met me. I heard you before I
Like,
saw
here
you.
comes Frank.
um. Well, do y'all have any questions for me? I'm kind of out of here at the moment.
No, I think one of the main things that, like, I think we started sharing our journey
Mm-hmm.
just to inspire others to get out there and do it. Like, it's so much fun. Like, if you see us out there, we're having fun. Like, we're not stressed about it. We get a pile up and neither one of us hear anything come in and we just look at each other like, we just laugh,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's fun. You pick up one letter and you just go with it. And he'll say a number and I'm like, I don't think that was it. Let me try it. Okay, nope, that for sure wasn't, because then it's dead silence. You
Mm-hmm.
send a letter and a number and a question mark on a pile up and you hear nothing. You're like, oops, got that wrong.
Yep, and but it's just part of the fun, and you just say, "All
It's
right, I
part of the
missed it.
fun.
Secure
Yeah.
as
And
in any
okay, I'm just,
station."
yep, CQ again. Like, it's fine, no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why we started sharing, really was just to inspire people to get out there and learn CW. And it's so much fun.
Yep. And definitely heavy inspiration from me from Adam. Like the dream of being able to be on a beautiful location and be able to bring a radio the size of a deck of cards and a wire and
Mm-hmm.
be able to make contact. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that not everybody is able to do that. And so the fact that you can still be part of that adventure by hunting is just amazing. And I mean, even whether you're at home or whether like one time we'd set up an antenna and we were barely able to like have conversations. We had to be really slow and write it down with a pencil. And we're next to the camper and met somebody in the morning while drinking coffee, right next to the camper at a vineyard. And it's like, I can see further in the distance where I can do this without a pen and paper and things like that. But even right now, it's already a big, fun accomplishment. And
Yep.
so,
What are your
um,
what are your future goals individually or collectively as a couple in your CW journey going forward?
oh, good question.
That is a good
We
question.
haven't talked about it together.
Is this one of those newlywed questions? Like, you answer first and then I answer.
I love it.
um, I don't know. I think just probably adventuring out into different areas and more parks and traveling. Like, we love to travel. We love to adventure. We bike and hike and kayak. And we did talk about, I wonder how we can, yeah, it's going to be a minute. Maybe not bike for a little while, but where else can we go to just have a new adventure? Like, sometimes you might go to the same park, but the fun part is, even if you go to the same park over and over and over again, you meet different people on the air. You can go to a different spot. So just going to new places.
Yep. And I would say, I think I totally agree.
He's so good. Did you see what he did first? He's going to totally agree, but then say something totally different. Go ahead.
Well, so just like a two-part and more nuanced answer. One of them for me is having that experience of just like being able to meet people really, really slowly, where it's a big struggle, writing some of the characters down, making lots of mistakes. When I'm at the top of my game, which is rare, still at a very slow speed, I can have a conversation and get most everything that they're saying without writing anything down. And so to be able to just someday be near a radio, have a conversation, whether it's like while we're traveling or at home, and just very relaxingly have a conversation without writing anything down would be one of them. And then I think the second one was, I don't know how to do this yet, but one of the days when I was in the backyard in the hammock, I made a contact with somebody. I looked him up on QRZ, and I was like, okay, I must have copied his call sign wrong. It says he's 12 years old. So I emailed him, and it was Isaiah from Oklahoma, and he replied back and said, yes, it was me. So he's now 13, and he was at Hamfest, and he introduced himself, and so that was just amazing. And so thinking about how do you like inspire, or how do you get younger people in general into it, so that they can have as much fun as we're having.
Yeah.
And I know that's probably not every 12-year-old's cup of tea, but but so that's probably my second one, is figuring out some way of being able to like light the fire in under people who otherwise wouldn't have discovered it.
Yep.
So a question here from Don is probably going to be our last one here. Have y'all tried the Camelback straight key? I don't know what that is.
I have not. I probably, if you showed me one, I'd be like, that's probably a Camelback, because obviously it probably looks, is that kind of a Camelback? Is that kind of?
So
Kind of, yeah.
Is that a camel?
It's a similar shape to that.
Okay.
yeah, I know one of the main differences in straight keys is the way that the part that you touch is, and I think that we both, for better or for worse, currently do what they call European style.
I just,
And so we don't have the one that you hold on to. But
I tried a bug for the first time at Hamfest. It was kind of funny. That's definitely a unique. We have someone that I can't think of his call sign, KM708 or something, but you almost dance when he has a bug, and it's just this beautiful sound that comes through. You just know it's him. Like I think that's part of what we're starting to have fun with too, is recognizing different sounds of people and how they send. Is everybody kind of has a unique style in how they send, and you start picking up someone coming in the same. It's really kind of neat.
Here's the last comment here from Vic Miller. He said this earlier tonight. This has been fun. Thanks to Mike and Becky for telling their stories on CW Journey 7-3. Everyone, take care and have a great week. And thank you very much. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Thank y'all for coming on. Y'all have been amazing. We covered this hour fast. I loved it.
Whoa, has it really been? Whoa, time flies, right?
Time's flying when you're having fun. So I'm going to give y'all a chance to tell me tell us a little bit about your channel. Where can we find you, and maybe something that's coming up, and the floor is y'all's.
I know what one you're going to cover. So the goal for coming up is at least once a week doing some sort of activation. We've gotten great feedback from people, and we do it ourselves listening to other channels. And so being able to share one activation a week so you can go along with us as we try to figure out the call signs and things like that. And then we're also going to try harder to incorporate other mostly CW related things, such as Scott had mentioned his device from the V-band company. So covering V-band and other options like that if you're learning CW and things like that.
I think I'm gonna start working on just kind of a either weekly or bi-weekly CW practice session. Ooh. And maybe even in a short, just here's the message of the week, or just a quick, here's a sentence, either head copy, write it down, listen to it a few times, and just something that maybe you get used to doing once or twice a week. We'll see how it goes, but I think it would be a fun way to just start some conversational Morse code practice. So I'm thinking about doing that.
I like it. And what's your channel, and where can we find it?
So we are the Ham Radio Duo at Ham Radio Duo.
And we have a website, hamradioduo.com, and we'll have a newsletter at some point. But
yeah, we're working on building the stuff, but right now just trying to get a couple videos a week out there. And
love it.
CW, interested in learning, please come by and visit.
Yep. Leave us comments so that we know.
I put the link to y'all's ham radio, or your YouTube channel in the chat.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much, Scott. Appreciate it.
Love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Thank y'all for coming on. I appreciate it. Scott, as always, you've been awesome. You've been amazing. Where can
Thank
we
you.
find more about you and what's coming up on your channel?
Well, I wish there's a whole lot more coming up on my channel. I'm kind of on a small hiatus right now. I'm doing my book tour right now, trying to get my book out there and get people to come out to the book signings and meet me and talk about the book and stuff.
What's the
But
book?
you can find me at Ham Radio for Non-Techies, hamradiofornontechies.com, or type in HR4NT anywhere on Google, and I come up everywhere.
Awesome, man. Thank you for joining. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having me.
And y'all hang out for a second. Thank y'all for watching. Y'all have been amazing out there on the YouTube lands. This will be also cut and the audio ripped and thrown into the audio podcast. So it'll be this and also 2 other audio podcasts that are not on here. So please go ahead and look for me on my audio channel. Thank you to all the Patreons watching. I do appreciate it. And let me just push these again because this is probably the last week to get your own mug. And I think there was supposed to be text that didn't show up. And that's fine. The links for that is in the description. It's also pinned in the chat. And also at Grapevine Amateur Radio, you can find all my merch. So I think that is going to be it for today. Y'all have been awesome and amazing. And as always, go forth and conquer. Say bye, everybody. Bye. Wrong scene, but that works.
Good night, guys.
A quick shout out to all my Patreons who makes the show possible. You can support me by joining Patreon in the link below. And on to Tank Radio.